Is it okay to quit? Isn't it all right to just give up? I mean, isn't it okay to just let go of something? Welcome to Steampunk Psyche, and this is our morning mantra. Just the very word "I quit" is kind of framed in this stigma of weakness, and I would like to reframe um, some of this idea in a different way. Okay, and I would like to give some examples. I want to give some examples of when quitting is applauded. Okay. Um, these are moments when society will celebrate the act of letting go. Okay. Because the harm's obvious, or the transformation is culturally endorsed, like quitting smoking or drugs. It's seen as you're reclaiming your health and your agency. And another example is like leaving a toxic relationship. It's often framed as empowerment. You're regaining your sovereignty. Um, Another example might be like letting go of clutter or hoarding, where it was framed by its minimalistic views or lack mentality, to gain that emotional clarity. Where, for instance, you may have quit a cult or an extremist type group that society deemed was unfit. And that will be framed as like this person was liberated and they're awakening. Another another type of one might be like leaving a high stress job for your mental health, basically. Um, and that seems to be increasingly accepted, in this wellness type culture. So those are just a few examples of when society as a whole applauds you. Now I would like to give you some examples of how quitting is shamed, um, even if the quitting is for liberation. So here are some burdensome type examples where the act of quitting is stigmatized, despite being a healthy choice or a necessary choice. Say, for instance, a person drops out of college, like in their senior year. Yeah. And it's sometimes seen as like wasted potential, even if the degree that they were going for no longer aligns with that person's path that they're on. Another example might be quitting a sports team, um, where it's always been framed as you're letting your teammates down, even though the environment that this person might be in is draining them or maybe even abusive. Um, Another example is like leaving a stable job that you're in. It's often misunderstood, and you know, even if the situation that you're in, maybe it's become manipulative, or you're just not learning anymore. It's stagnant. You can't go any further. So another example might be like walking away from a family business, or the legacy that they've created, handing you down the deed, and you walk away, and it can be seen as like a complete betrayal. Even if this individual is seeking a whole different calling for themselves. So um, the power of these words, quitting and letting go and moving on, they're just a few syllables. They're joined together. They form this structured word that has so much power to either cripple us or lift us up. And so what's the takeaway from this? And I think the reason I wanted to just mention these few things is that if we were to reinterpret um, these words, maybe this whole walking away and quitting might be more like a ritual type release, you know, like how the snake sheds its skin or the moth comes away from the cocoon. It's not weakness, you know, it's wisdom. Um, you know, we praise the phoenix for rising out of the fire, but we forget that it had to sit in the fire first and burn. And that may sound like some really, you know, really great words, but we never know people's pain. We never know what they're going through completely. And so, in the end, our perception, even collectively speaking, um, puts a lot of pressure. And when you're in that position, while we really don't want to seek validation from others, that that energy or that perception is still there. And I would like to think that maybe we could change the language up just a little bit and say that, you know, instead of quitting, what if we collectively thought that maybe this could be considered realigning? And instead of giving up, we might say that actually what we're doing is we're giving back what no longer served us. And instead of letting go, we're making space for what's true for us. So this was just a short, and I hope that maybe this resonates with you. But quitting is not and should not any longer be framed as weakness. So if you're in positions like this, just know that it is sacred and you should follow your intuition. So anyway, I hope you found this with love. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you want to leave a comment, that'd be great too. And I hope you join me on Steampunk Psyche.